What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brendan. I'm BManX45, and today we're coming at you with another video. We promised some Digimon discussions, and today we're talking about EX12 Digimon Shambala, which seems to me to just be kind of out of left field in my opinion. But it's not the first time they've done this with EX sets. We're going to be talking about the effectiveness of EX sets. We're going to be talking about this EX set in general, and how we feel like it will play into the meta, and just how it's introducing a whole lot of new support, and just support that doesn't really, I think, mesh well with a lot of other cards. But I could be wrong, and we'll have to wait and see until we get into EX12. And we will be doing our regular videos. We're going to do our points list. We're going to do our card overview, and we're going to do our deck excitement list for decks that we want to try and building it from the set. But we are going to also be talking about how this set, I think, it will be effectively, put into the Digimon TCG. Now, Shambala is something that's really interesting because it is technically it's the third digital world from the video games. We have the original one with King Drazel, which is the CS world, which is Cyber Eden or whatever you want to call it. And you have Iliad, which is the Olympus 12 world that we just got in the new video game, but it hints at another digital world, which is Kunlun's world, which is Shambala. So we'll be looking into that as well here. And something that's really great is my Discord, the Brick City Discord. Shout out to them. They do a really great job. They have a Digimon TCG 2020 leaks and reveals post, which is really great. Gives you a lot of great information, and you don't have to go searching through all the Facebook posts because the mods just pick up all the leaks and put them onto this channel on our Discord. So thank you guys to that, because it's always been a really great source of information and excitement for the future of Digimon TCG. So thank you to everyone who does that. But hey, if you enjoyed this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single minute of fun. All right, so we're looking at Shambala here, and you can see on the side here we have all these cards. We got like a new Kaguyamon, like a green and purple Kaguyamon. It's got these new traits, the TB trait, Shambala, Tente Hikabushi, Puppet, and the Sanmojin. It's got tons of traits. It doesn't have a Liberator trait, so it might not be good in a Liberator-based deck, but it does play cost 5 or lower Puppet or Shambala. So you could see some synergy with the Puppet stuff, but it's not going to be searchable with Liberator trait stuff or Liberator trait themed stuff, but it would be good with a Puppet trait deck if you can mix enough cards to get that. So it's kind of interesting. We're not going to go through a lot of the effects here because there are some really good effects. It's just looking at the different stuff we got. We got 8mon, SW trait, whatever that is. Maybe it's Shambala Warriors. I'm not sure yet. And then Gokumon, you have all these level 5s that are kind of like, and they all have Digicross because the original guys here had Digicross in them. When we got Digicross back in like BT10, like Chohakimon, Gokumon, like we got a lot of these guys back when the original Digicross stuff came out. So they also have the Digicross stuff, which is actually kind of cool. But it's got the SW trait and Shambala, and so you're seeing all these different decks, and then you see like we're going to get hero stuff. So we're going to get heroes part of the Virus Busters stuff. So we're going to get a Gamamon stuff now in the Virus Busters line. I think we saw the reveal for Siriusmon earlier on, but I think they haven't revealed like the official card, the entire card art. He's going to be a dual card. But you got Amaterasumon as one of your level 6, so your Shambala. And he's got the same thing, Tente Hikabushi, Sanmojin, Shaman, Shambala, TB. So tons and tons of stuff. You got the Genshi content and Ashino Island. So this is probably like the land of Shambala. It'd be cool to get a video game on this or even a TV show. But yeah, so there's a whole island there, which would be the digital world for this series probably. You got the Metal Empire, that's a new trait. So and we got some of our old returning favorites like Deep Sabers. There's Nightmare Soldiers. I believe there's some of the other ones like Wind Guardians or Nature Spirits. but we have so we have the Virus Busters is a new trait, the VBs, which I think a lot of our Ghost Game guys are. Ruli is Nightmare Soldier, apparently. Nature Spirit, sorry. Nightmare Soldier, NSO is Nightmare Soldier, but so in nature, Ruli gets a Nature Spirit trait. So all the Angoramon and Samba Angoramon stuff is a Nature Spirit, and then we get a dual card Diarbitmon. Same with we get a dual card for the blue guy. Here we'll see it in a second here. So yeah, like you say, Chohakimon again. It's going to be a Digicross card, just like when she first was brought out. I don't know if she was exactly a Digicross card, but she was meant sport for the Digicross stuff. You got Nezamon's another level 6 of the basically the Tentai Bushu? Yeah, whatever. I'm so bad at this stuff. So you got all that stuff. You got Takudomon, another one. I think there's like 8 of these, kind of like these Shambala warriors, like the level 6s. You got a Kamemon and a Guapamon, which is going to be Cyborg and SW trait. So it's kind of interesting. Doesn't go with the support we've got already. You have Irlangmon is another one of the kind of warriors, and they all have their own kind of abilities, and they're all dual color, so that's kind of cool. You got a big focus on the ME trait stuff, Kapurimon here. And it's funny too because we also got reveals on this stuff, which some of this stuff, like the Arcturusmon, would be kind of seen as support for this line, but we'll see it down there further here. So yeah, you see all these ME trait cards, new Haguramon, machine / ME. So there's a whole new machine line, machine empire. And then Virus Busters. So a lot of the yellow stuff's going to be the Virus Busters. You got a green yellow Gatomon, which I think is actually pretty cool. And a new Anjo Woman that's Virus Busters with decode for your level 4 or Holy Beast, Nature Spirit, or VB trait. So they're having like Nature Spirit and VB as their trait. Like I said, we got this guy here. He's now Deep Saver. So now his Digimon, Jellymon, Tesla are all Deep Saver. Arcturusmon gets the VB trait as well. So it's good for this new Gamma line. And Amphimon is another dual card, and it's got the DS trait. So it's going to, they're moving this stuff kind of out of the Ghost game into kind of those traits we got during the Liberator phase. So that's kind of interesting. And hopefully it'll make some of those traits good, because like some of those decks, Deep Savers, Nature Spirits, looked really cool. They just never, they weren't the good guy squad, so they never got as much support as I thought they should have, right? Like Rocks and Dragon King and all that other stuff. But NSO was really cool as well, so I was hoping that would get more. You got tons of the ME stuff. ME's very... and you finally get a Machine Dramon Ace. So we're not doing Aces that much anymore, but finally get a Machine Dramon Ace, because we did get Puppetmon, we did get Piedmon early on, and we did get Metal Seadramon. So this was the only Dark Master card that we didn't get an Ace version. Of course, their Ace cards are not Dark Masters, but he is part of the new ME. So it is kind of like changing up the basic Machine Dramon deck. Like you used to have like all the different types of Machine Dramon decks. It was the Cyborg Machine deck, but now we've added Cyborg, Machine, and ME. So they're making this cross-pollinate pretty good, I think, just based on the stuff that I can see here. And then, you got this line again. It's all the TB Warriors, whatever that is. They haven't released like an option card, so I'm not exactly sure what TB is, or SW, just the Virus Busters and the Machine Empire, which is actually kind of cool. Machine Empire sounds pretty cool. And then, of course, we get Hyandramon, and we get a new Chaos Dramon, which is one of the new Ultimate Rares, and it looks pretty sweet. And it's going to use all the traits, too, and it's going to have assembly from all the different machine traits. So there's a lot of cool stuff going to be coming out for machine stuff, so machine lovers are getting a lot. We're getting a new... Wargreymon 2 that has the VB and ME trait, And then we have this, and we have an ME and VB trait Metal Garurumon, so that's kind of interesting as well. We're getting an Omnimon in this set, which I was kind of like, we just got an Omnimon in 81, and he's going to have the Machine Empire trait, which is kind of interesting, and the Virus Busters. He's going to be like, look at this color, like you can blue, yellow, or red, black. So you can DNA Digivolve with a lot of different colors. And he has pretty decent abilities too. And you can activate multiple sometimes. So yeah, that's... and it don't have to be DNA Digivolving to activate his effect. So it's just better if you are, because you have more sources. So this is going to be very interesting. And then... what else we have here? We have a new Susanomon, which is interesting because like this guy is not a hybrid. Like he has the hybrid trait form, but he doesn't have 10 warriors. He's got SW, TB, and TS, Shambala, and Shaman. He does got Assembly 9 for hybrid, which is really cool. So for what was it? Oh, it was 16. So for 7, you can play him if you have enough hybrid cards in your trash, which with current day hybrid is actually really easy. And he's got Rush, Raid, Block. He's got so much stuff. He's one of the secrets. He's the face card of the set, I believe. So he's actually probably a pretty good Susanomon for the first time around. We're finally getting a really good Susanomon. And he's got trashing cards, recovery, so much stuff. So this card I can see being a big hit just because it can be used in hybrid. It's made to be used in hybrid, although the traits are aimed towards the Shambhala stuff. So that is kind of interesting. We got Kunlun's Imperial Decree. I'm wondering if we're going to get a Kunlun tamer in this set because, you know, from the guy we saw in the video game, because that would make sense. This is basically your memory boost for the Shambhala stuff, and you can see there all the different guys here. You know, we've seen a bunch of the different reveals, like we've seen that guy, him. I don't think we've seen him yet. We've seen her, and I think this was, I don't know if we saw a Ryugamon, but it was kind of hinted at earlier. So we're getting 2 Liberator guys that aren't going to be Liberator. And I don't think we've gotten this yet. Shakamon, I believe, which we did get back in EX6. We got a Shakamon, but I don't know if I'd have to go back and check if it was traded in any specific way other than just older traits. So yeah, so there's a lot of new stuff in here. We're also getting, you know, there's Greymon. We've got up to like about 60, 62 out of the 77 cards. So there's only a little bit left before we're going to be doing our points list and all that other stuff. A lot of this stuff, though, it is very limited in you know, what it can do with the other cards in the game. There are some really good cards. Like I said, you could play this Omni in the Ping Pong Omni. I think that would be very effective, and it might be actually really, really good. It just depends because it wants you to have more sources to get its ability off. So the more sources you have, the better. But you could potentially play this. This would actually probably be really good in, like, say, a Alter S deck where you're actually climbing the stack. It could be very, very good, especially if you can attack at the end, because it could potentially trash multiple cards, which would allow you to kill a lot quicker. So this one's cool for that. Yeah, there's and the Susanomon actually looks really cool. So I'm actually excited about that. Will it be better in Shambhala trait decks? Will it be better in hybrid decks? I don't know, but I mean, if it's another reason to play hybrid, you know, I'm all in because I love hybrid decks. I've played them for a lot. I hope there's a Kunlun tamer. We haven't seen any tamers in this set yet, and like I said, we're limited on cards, and there's still a bunch of reveals that have to be done because we still got to see, you know, the rest of the Shambhala warriors in this card that we haven't seen yet. So you know, and we still got to see, you know, potentially other stuff, like maybe some options that go with the traits. Are we going to get an option card for the SW and the TB trait? Not sure about that at all. So yeah, there's lots of cool traits. It's a very trait oriented set. Like you have to You have to be playing these traits, I think, to make the best use of these cards. It's going to be an interesting EX set because I feel like we're on the cusp of having some really good cards, but I feel like this set is going to be like an EX9 set. And by that I mean like there's a lot of cool stuff in it, but it's not going to do a lot. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that maybe makes appearances in other decks or maybe strengthens older decks. Like I feel like the machine stuff we're getting in where EX9 was exactly like this because EX9 made Machine Dramon really good again. It was, we got assembly keyword, you got the DM trait keyword, and there was all these cool like, oh, do we play traditional Machine Dramon with all the old cyborg stuff, or do we play the DM Machine Dramon? And both were really great decks, and both had their kind of short time in the sunshine before we moved on to PT22 and things got crazy again. But EX9 very felt really underwhelming as a set. I think a lot of people felt that. Chimeramon had a little bit of its time in the sunshine, and you did get really good puppet stuff, but none of that stuff, like where it didn't top a lot, and it didn't change really the makeup of the game. It just added, okay, here's this other deck that can compete now. It can compete a little bit. The other decks are still really topping, but this stuff can be added on to that now. And I feel like that's something that made EX9 just not as popular of a set. And I feel like they do that with a lot of EX sets. Like EX1 was a total flop. EX2 introduced a playable Gallantmon variant as well as the Beelzemon deck. And the Beelzemon deck was actually really good. Really good. I know I played it. It was my first online regionals or Ultimate Cup, and I got top 128, and I loved the deck. That was really cool. Gallantmon was good too. It wasn't as good. It had its problems. The Gallantmon's had a lot of problems throughout its iterations, and it had its problems, but it was still, you could take it to a tournament, and if you were really good, you could do well with it. Of course, we got, other things like Sakuyamon, wasn't that good at the time, unfortunately. Like, people loved it. They wanted it to be good, but it didn't have enough support. Same with Gargamon, so a lot of, and then D Reapers was another deck that was big around that time. EX3 I feel didn't do as much as it could have. It was a bit of a failure as well. EX3 did have it did have things like the Examon deck, which was really cool, but that deck was just so hard to get your DNA off. Getting level 6 DNAs are just so much harder than like level 5s. That was a level 7 DNA, although I know I can use the level 5s for a DNA cost most of the time. But that was you did have things like Dormicmon, which was really popular back then, and you did get some other support. But I'd say EX3 and even EX4 was a little bit of a slough. You did get good cards like Ruin Mode, and you had the new Omni support in EX4, but really those sets, it wasn't until EX5 that we really had a really successful EX set, because we had Fang Longmon and the Devas and the Sovereigns. We had Leviamon as its own deck, and that deck just literally got support in that set, and it was a good deck. We had, beyond that, we had, beyond Leviamon, we had, what is it called? It was, I can't remember now because it's limited. Anubismon. We had Anubismon, which was busted and broken and had to be limited right away. And we even had the Metal Garurumon support, the Melga support that we got in EX5. So EX5 I felt was a really successful set, to the point where they had to hit stuff a lot. They had to hit that set several times with the different waves of support it had. So EX5 was really, since EX2 was the first, I feel, successful EX set, followed up by EX6, which was also really successful because of the 7 Demon Lords, because of the Angel support, all the Mastimon, and the different vaccine stuff. Those two lines were very successful in that format and in future formats. So EX7 actually kind of fell flat, but it had some really good cards. Like, it had Hexablow, which was just such a great tech card for a lot of decks. It had you know, it had the start of the Liberator stuff, and the Liberator stuff didn't, you know, jump out to begin with, but it slowly made its way onto the scene. So I would say you could say EX7 was kind of in the middle. It could have been seen as a flop or something that's really good. EX8 was definitely a success with, you know, Medieval Gallimon X Antibody, the Rock line, the Sakuyamon line, just so much stuff. EX8 was such a success, and then EX9 again felt like a bit of a flop. EX10, I don't know where I place EX10, just because it was a cool set. It was villain themed. We got Beelzemon was back. There were so many other decks. Myotismon was back. So I feel like that set was, and there was a lot of good cards that people were teching in decks. I feel like that set's middle of the line. It could be seen as either a flop or a success, depending on what you're talking about. And then EX11 was definitely a success with support for so many of the Liberator decks. It was just like a Liberator format to begin with until we got BT25. And AD1 really. And there's still decks. There's still decks in the Liberator from the Liberator format doing well. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on right now. I don't know how you guys feel about EX12, but I think it is, you know, it could be a flop. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. I'm excited to try it out, but I just don't know if it's going to mesh well with the game as it is, and if there's going to be enough support really in this one set to really create some tournament-worthy decks. I definitely think Machines probably got the best chance because it does mesh directly with old Machine support, but the whole Shambhala of it is just an interesting thing because I don't know how well it's going to mesh with old support, like the Puppet stuff or the Ryudomon support or any of the other old cards that we have that kind of are in this area. It'll be very interesting though, and there's some stuff that I'm really excited for, and like I said, I'm really excited for Susanomon, and hey, we got another Omnimon, so that's pretty cool too. But we're getting a lot more. We're getting some more ultimate rare cards, and we'll see what the alternate arts for this set are, and what the low pull rates are, and what kind of box toppers they're going to get when we do our points list. But let me know what you guys think about all of this. What do you guys think about Shambhala? Do you think it's another kind of, why are you guys doing this? Like if we took out Shambhala completely and did it in with other sets, other main sets, worked it in there and stuff like that, do you think we need this extra EX set? Because we're getting like 4 EX or 3 EX sets a year now, and it just seems like it's a lot, especially because like we'll get the 3 in a year, and we'll have another one right in January, so almost 4 per year, and then 4 or 5 main sets. So the game definitely has ramped up quite a bit, even with the production, you know, unification, global unification. We thought we were going to go back to kind of like the slower speed, and they just don't stop. But let me know about all these thoughts and what you guys are thinking about the game and about this set in the comments down below. Looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. And as always, have a wonderful day. And that's all for now, folks.